And I opened the box, and in the box, there's this huge diamond,
Ooh.
like a big diamond ring.
Wow.
And I'm looking at it and I thought, oh my gosh. And I look at it and I'm looking at it. The more I look at it, the more beautiful it seems to be getting. And I'm like, this is huge. And honestly, it was a huge, big diamond. Of course, they're very wealthy. Hello, this is Sally McNally, the Irish midwife. Welcome back to The Bleeding Truth.
And this is Bridget McNally, Sally's daughter. So, real quick, before we jump into today's stories with Sally, just want to let you guys know that if anybody has questions that you want to ask Sally, either about midwifery or about yoga or hypnosis or anything that she has as her specialties, feel free to ask her directly through the link in the description below, and we'll try to answer those during the next podcast. So for today's story, somebody requested this. I haven't heard it yet, but all I know is that today's story starts with something to do with a diamond ring.
Oh, yes, the story about the diamond ring. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Well, in Saudi Arabia, when I was working there, um, the the people are very generous, and if you admire something, they want to give it to you. So we were always told, don't admire anything, their jewelry or their clothes or anything, because they'll feel like they have to give it to you
Mm,
then.
interesting.
So it was a kind of an unwritten rule. You just didn't mention anything. Um, and then the women, if they really liked, how you did their delivery, um, and they bonded with you throughout the labor and stuff, they were probably inclined to give you their wedding ring.
Oh,
I
wow.
have a little collection. Yeah, I have a little collection of wedding rings from, difficult deliveries, long, hard labors and stuff, where the women would, afterwards, they would take your hands and they would kiss your hands and give you their wedding ring. And that was like such an honor to be treated like that, And then sometimes I remember looking at my hands after they had kissed them, and I would think, wow, that's so cool that my hands could do the good work first, but then that my hands could be cherished in such a way.
Wow.
And it was a really nice thing to do. Um, I can remember one particular delivery where it was a shoulder dystocia. If you don't know what that means, it means the baby's head has been born and the shoulders now are stuck and are not coming out. And of course, it's an obstetrical emergency and can be very dangerous for both mother and baby. And there I was in the labour room on my own. There was nobody free to come and help me. I was
Oh,
shouting,
wow.
help, help, help. And this poor baby, head was out, big shoulders. Um, and nobody to help me. Usually, there's maneuvers that we do with the patient's body to put her into a position to free up the shoulders. We can, sometimes have somebody press, doing what's known as pubic pressure, pressing on the anterior shoulder to help it release under the pubic bone. Sometimes we'll turn the baby all the way around to see if we can get the bottom shoulder out. Sometimes we'll turn the patient on her hands and knees, but there was nobody to help me. So the last thing that I could do is to deliberately break the clavicle. And at that time in obstetrics, that's what we were taught, that if there was nothing else relieving this situation, then you would, place your thumb in the center of that baby's clavicle and press in as hard and as fast as you could, and hopefully that would relieve it.
And that's
And
the little bone that is right between the base of your neck to your shoulder, right?
that's
Yeah.
right,
Of
yeah.
the
The,
baby's clavicle.
the little baby's clavicle,
Oh,
and the
no.
thought to injure a baby deliberately is like horrific, but it was only in a matter of life and
So
death. And that was the situation I was in.
where
There was
was
nobody.
everyone?
They were all doing deliveries. There
Wow.
was everybody was caught up. Nobody could hear me, and the baby's head was out for like minutes at this stage, and the baby was, having a really hard time, and it was time to do something. I tried everything that I could do on my own. And so the mother, I was looking up between her legs and she was lifting her head, and I could see her looking at me. And she was saying in Arabic, "Help me, save my baby, help me, save my baby." Um, and I had to do what I had to do. And so I can remember hearing that little crack, the little crack of the bone. And I pushed in really hard, and it did what I was taught to do. It collapsed the shoulder a little bit, and the baby came right out. And the baby was huge. The baby must have been like almost 12
Oh, wow.
pounds. Big sumo wrestler baby. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow.
I know it was quite a scary. I can remember feeling so scared and shaking with the adrenaline, and but I put that big baby up on that mother's chest, and immediately she grabbed my hands and she started to kiss my hands. Yeah, so she was kissing my hands, and the baby was crying. The baby's all pink and, moving and breathing and doing everything just right. Um, yeah, so that was a very scary situation. Um, and of course, I have her ring and I have it safe, like a really special memento. Um, but over there in Saudi, of course, there's a monarchy, there's a king, and there's many princes and princesses. And so there's a big line of princesses that we used to get into the hospital where I worked. And there was a royal suite where we used to go to deliver them. And this royal suite, and I kid you not, this is the bleeding truth, the handles on the doors were solid gold,
Oh,
and the taps were solid gold, and anything that was metal was golden, and it was really amazing. But it was weird because they had a white carpet. It was like everything was so beautiful, and
this
of
is
course
this a labor room suite? Oh,
yeah, this
wow.
was where the princesses would deliver, and they'd have this beautiful white carpet. In the same area, they had, I remember hearing the story of this prince who was in there, and had the white carpet in his area too, and he'd be smoking cigarettes and just throwing them off the bed, and the white carpet had all these burns on it. But that's a different story. But the, this this day, I got called to do a delivery for a princess in the royal suite. And I was so excited that this was great. This was my first time up there in that particular area. And princesses, when they come in, they have a big entourage of people. They had people to fix their hair and their nails, and people to dress them, and somebody to help them go to the toilet and clean their bottom. And
Wow.
yeah, so they'd have like a big line of people, um, and this princess was very sweet to me. And I remember we bonded well, and we did the delivery. And she loved the way I did the delivery because I guess her perineum was intact and everything worked out really well, that she called me back the next day. She said she had a gift for me. So I came in to the royal suite, and I was saying to her, "We're not allowed to accept gifts. I'm really happy to have met you and to have, been a part of your special experience, but I'm not allowed to take gifts. Thank you for the thought." And she said, "Oh, no, no, you cannot say no. This is a gift from my baby." And somebody else in the room said, "If you say no to this gift, it's a huge insult. You cannot say no."
Oh, wow.
And and I said, "Oh, okay then. Thank you so much. I really appreciate." So she gives me she gives me this little box. It was like an order. I had to take the gift. So I took the gift, and she was like smiling at me and waving at me as I left the door. And I was like, that's so sweet and nice. And I'm walking down the corridor going back to work, and I opened the box, and in the box, there's this huge diamond,
Oh,
like a big diamond ring.
wow.
And I'm looking at it and I thought, oh my gosh. And I look at it and I'm looking at it. The more I look at it, the more beautiful it seems to be getting. And I'm like, this is huge. And honestly, it was a huge, big diamond. Of course, they're very wealthy,
Hmm.
the royal family. And of course, she could afford to give like big gifts, but this was a really big gift. But I guess having her first baby was like a really big deal to her.
Wow.
Uh, this I could have, bought a car. I
Could
could have
have.
maybe bought a
What do you mean
house.
could have?
If I'd sold this ring, I'm sure it was worth a lot of money. And I never had anything like this before.
Wow.
And it just so happened that that night we were having a New Year's party. And we were
Uh-oh.
going
Oh
to
no.
Yes, a pool party that we were all going to dress up in our evening wear because we had to make our own fun, you
Right.
remember. This was in our own compound. We had this like nice big swimming pool, and we had food, and we had decorations, and we were all going to dress up really nice, okay? And I had this lovely black velvet dress. I remember the black velvet dress,
Mhm.
and I had long black gloves. And when I went home from work and I tried on me outfit, I put on the black gloves and I slid that beautiful diamond ring onto my finger over the black gloves. And it looked like Hollywood. I thought, wow, this is great. Um, and yeah, yeah. So off I went to the party with the girls, and everyone was like, woo, what a ring. And everyone was like astonished at my beautiful jewelry.
Of the Hollywood.
Yes, I remember high heels, velvet dress, little slit up to me thigh, and then these gloves. And sure, I thought I was the bee's knees. And I often wonder why we say the bee's knees. So, um, I was going around dancing and shaking people's hands, and um, it was a good party. There was music. It was like a disco. It was like at home if you were like at a nightclub or a
Yeah.
disco. It was great fun. And then as the night wore on, I looked down at my hand and I thought, oh no, did I bring the ring? Didn't I bring the ring? I brought the ring. The ring was
Oh
gone.
my
It had
gosh.
somehow slipped off my finger. So I said, "Oh my God, I lost my ring!" And everyone was like, "What ring? What you talking about? What you got on?" So all of a sudden, there was everyone was looking for the ring. We were all down on our
Oh my
hands and
god.
knees around by the pool. Some brave people jumped into the pool and were swimming down, looking to see could it be at the bottom of the pool. And we searched for a while, but nobody ever found the ring. And the party went on. And I thought, oh, well, I had the ring for a wee while and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, Sally.
I know, and I hope whoever found it, hopefully, I often thought the next day there was these wee Sri Lankan men, I think they were from, or Pakistan maybe. I'm not sure where they were from, but they used to come to clean the pool, and I often thought, I hope one of them found the ring, because it would have changed their life,
It could have been
forever.
anyone. Someone found it as you guys were searching and they were like, whoop, put it in my pocket.
Yes. Anyway, I believe it was Nina. She wanted me to tell that story, and Nina, that story's for you.
That was a good one. But oh my god, that hurts just thinking about it that you had this giant, valuable item.
Yes, yes. Well, that was an example of a princess treating you beautifully,
Wow.
to be so valued like that. And then the opposite, like I remember one of the princesses um, came in different. I don't remember any names. And again, I don't mean to insult the Saudi royal family in any way, but this is my bleeding truth. It's what I witnessed with my own eyes. She was addicted to heroin, of all
Oh, wow.
things. Yes, and when she came in to the hospital to be evaluated, um, her little baby was not doing well, and she was like only like 28 weeks pregnant, and the baby looked really ill, like the baby was needing a C-section. And we couldn't get an IV going on her to run her to the operating room to do a C-section. All her veins were used up because she was an addict, right? But one of her maids was there, and her maid stepped in and said, I can get a vein. In Arabic, she said, I can do it. And we were like, wow, really? But of course, the girl knew where to get a vein. Up in her elbow area was the vein somewhere that they'd been recently using. At the back of her elbow, they'd found one, and she started the IV for us, which was amazing. So then we ran to get everything ready, um, and when we came back to get her, she was locked in the bathroom. And we were like, come on, we have to bring you. We have to save the baby. We need to do an emergency C-section. Um, and she was like, I'll be there in a minute. I'll be there in a minute. And finally, we were like banging on the door. Come on, you have to come. What are you doing? What's going
So,
on?
oh,
And of course, she was taking heroin in there. Somebody had given her heroin, and
that poor
so she was
baby.
poor baby. I don't think the baby made it. Yeah, I can't remember the end of that story, but the baby did get taken to the NICU, but I don't think it lived. It was a very sad story. Very, very sad.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
How,
and
so,
the so wildness of the place, like there we were hiding our little bit of booze that we were trying to
mm-hmm.
make. And like, sometimes our compounds where we lived, and we might be making our little barrels of beer or our wine, and we'd get, intel coming into us. They're planning a raid. They're coming in the gates. They're coming to raid the compound to see if there's any illegal
Raid the
substances.
compound?
Raid the compound, they'd come into your house and walk
Oh,
around and search and
wow.
stuff. So then in that case, you'd have to empty out all your booze and flush it down the toilet and flush it away, and then look all innocent when they'd walk around your house. But here was the royal, you know, um, princess addicted to
Yeah, that was what
heroin.
I
So
was just gonna ask. Is there like a difference in what women can do when they're in the royalty?
well, I think, they wouldn't have advertised the fact that she was doing that, and perhaps they didn't even know,
Mm.
It might have been just kept a secret, all around her. And her people that were with me, they did offer that she became addicted when she went to get educated in England. She went over there, and that's where she was introduced to
Oh,
drugs.
really? Wow.
Yeah, yeah, poor thing. It was really
Yeah,
sad.
that's
Yeah,
wild though.
rings and things, huh?
Now you have a smaller diamond ring and it's perfect.
I have the best beautiful ring. Yes.
Alrighty. Thank you for sharing that. That was a good story.
Well, thanks for listening, and I hope you all come back again. And if you have any friends that you think might be interested in listening to my bleeding truth, please send them to our podcast.
Absolutely. And give Sally a like and subscribe. That would mean the world. We will definitely see you in the next one. Thanks a
Great.
million.
Thanks. Thanks a million.